in the squadron. They called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And back to the White House. He's still there. Marathon man, President Trump, taking questions.
We're allowed to have that. I'm all about the gospel. I'm about it as much as anybody can be. But I can't allow, as President of the United States of America, I can't allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. And here's the story. They won't have. They've already agreed not to have. That's good news, and I think the Pope will be very happy.
The Federal Reserve should wait and see about this Iran war before lowering interest rates. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't agree. I think we should have lower interest rates.
Iran's going to execute 4 more protesters, reportedly, including the first woman protester. What do you tell Iran?
Well, tell that to the Pope. What did you say? Tell that to the Pope.
You want to patch things up with the Pope?
That Iran is going to... Did you just hear that? Iran is going to execute 4 people, including a woman?
Trump, the Lebanese love you so much. Would you visit Lebanon?
Do you extend the ceasefire? What makes you extend that?
I don't know if we're going to have to, but if we need to, I would do that.
Wait, that's important. Sorry.
What are you telling the airlines and the oil companies about the way you're going to open up the trade?
So if you look at the oil and if you look at the price we're paying, it's about half what people thought it would be if you did what I had to do. We had to take this journey to the Middle East in order to get rid of a nuclear weapon. There would have been, if we didn't hit them with the B-2 bombers, or if I didn't kill the Barack Hussein-Obama deal, the nuclear deal, which was a disaster, we would have had nuclear weapons exploding in the Middle East and beyond. I believe I've been able to stop that. I think we have a very successful negotiation going on right now, and I think it'll be, if it happens, it'll be announced fairly soon, and that'll give us free oil, free Hormuz Strait, everything will be nice, and I think your oil price will go down to lower than what it was before, and I think a lot of good things will happen.
Just for clarity, you're willing to extend the ceasefire?
So we'll see. I don't know that we'll have to. Ideally, we'll, but if I needed to, I would.
The Lebanese people love you so much. What do you say? The Lebanese people love you so much. What's your message for them? And you will visit Lebanon after this deal?
I will do that. At the right time, I would certainly go there.
You think this war in Ukraine, Putin doesn't want to stop it apparently. He keeps bombing Ukraine. Do you think this war has the potential to go on for years more?
Well, it should have never started. If I were president, the war in Ukraine never would have started with Russia. But it's going on. Hopefully it'll get over soon.
The First Lady came out last week and said she had no link to Jeffrey Epstein.
Who did?
The First Lady, Melania.
She had none.
Why did she come out and say that last week?
Because the fake news was saying she did, and she had none, and I think that's been proven. It bothered her that the fake news was being fake news, so she just wanted to clarify.
Who's taking care of Hezbollah? Do you think that they are destroying the deal that they are trying to make?
We're going to see how it all works out, but they'll be working and coordinating. If you know Lebanon, right? So they'll be working with Hezbollah.
If we fire Jay Powell,
are you still interested in acquiring Iranian oil?
What?
Are you still interested in acquiring Iranian oil after the?
Well, we'll see. I mean, we have a very good relationship with Iran right now, as hard as it is to believe. And I think it's a combination of about 4 weeks of bombing and a very powerful blockade. The blockade is maybe more powerful than the bombing, if you want to know the truth.
Are you going to make the Arab countries pay a portion of all of the costs?
I think they'll make that. I think they're going to make that contribution. I think the Arab countries, because we've done a lot, I think they'd make a contribution toward the cost. Not been involved.
Iranian assets without any condition if you make a deal?
We're going to see what happens, but I think we're very close to making a deal with Iran. You'll be the first to know, but I think we have a chance. And if that happens, oil goes way down, prices go way down, inflation goes way down, and you're going to have, much more importantly than even that, you won't have nuclear holocaust.
Are we talking now? What happened to the president?
Uh-oh.
All right, so President Trump now making his way. I don't think he's actually going to the helicopter. I think he's just going to another section. There we go. Let's pick it back up.
Shut up, John.
Iranian leaders, it really is a regime change. These are people that are a lot different than we were dealing with at the beginning. As you know, they're no longer around. They're no longer with us. But we have a very good relationship, and I think there's a very good chance that we're going to make a deal. Also, Israel and Lebanon, I think there's a good chance that they'll make a good deal. So,
when are they coming here?
In reaction to Russia's overnight attack on Kiev, they killed 21 Ukrainians.
I think it's terrible.
Are you going to send any cabinet member to China before your visit?
Well, I have a great relationship, as you know, with President Xi, and I look forward to being there. We have a very special relationship. So I look forward to being in China.
Thank you. Mr. President, you imposed sanctions on Rwanda because they keep violating the Washington Accord.
I do.
But President Saddam just said he don't care about sanctions, and he said he will not withdraw from Congo. His troops will continue in Congo. What is your reaction to
We're
that?
going to look into it very strongly, but they do have very big sanctions.
Mr. President, there was a G20 meeting in Washington today. Why did you invite Poland instead of South Africa?
Well, Poland's a great country. We like it a lot. We're friends with Poland. The president is doing a great job, so we invite him.
Man, they're
I saw your Truth Social post about Bruce Blakeman in New York. He's being denied up to $7 million of public campaign funds in New York by partisan Democrats. Have you seen that, and what's your reaction to it?
I can just tell you this. Bruce Blakeman is running for governor. He will be a great governor. If he wins, I don't know that he wins or not because it's New York. And, you know, people cheat on elections and a lot of other things. But Bruce Blakeman is a great, great gentleman. As you know, he comes from Nassau County, which is a Democrat area, and he wins by a landslide all the time. And if Bruce Blakeman gets in, your taxes are going to go way down, and a lot of good things are going to happen, including cleanliness and all of the things that you want to see. I know him very well. He's been a great leader, a great executive in Nassau County. Even though it's largely Democrat, he wins in a landslide. Everybody loves him. He's a very talented guy, very great politician, and I think he probably has a chance. If Bruce Blakeman gets in, your taxes are going way down, and you know what else is going down? Crime.
Yeah, Bruce.
10 missing scientists with access to classified stuff, nuclear material, aerospace. They've all gone missing or turned up dead in the last couple months. Based on what you've been briefed, what do you think is happening here, and do you think that this is connected or totally random?
Well, I hope it's random, but we're going to know in the next week and a half. I just left a meeting on that subject, so pretty serious stuff. But we're going to be hopefully, I don't know, coincidence, if you whatever you want to call it. But some of them were very important people, and we're going to look at it over the next short period.
It's possible that some foreign adversary is in the United States scooping these people up.
Well, you know, Biden had open borders. It wasn't very hard to get here, but we've gotten many of them out. You know, we've caught many, many people, many very bad people, including thousands of murderers that we've taken out of our country, thousands of drug lords that we've taken out of our country, hundreds of thousands of prisoners that were let into the U.S. that we've taken out of our country. As far as the scientists are concerned, we'll probably have a pretty good answer over the next week.
And with the peace talks in Iran, does it have to be a big deal all at once, or would you accept a little deal to start?
Well, I have a little deal. I can make a little deal. I want to get it done and get back to keep going with low. You know, our pricing is doing great. As soon as the war is over, we're going to be lower than we were 2 or 3 years ago. So I want to get back to that. We had to do something. We had to make sure that Iran never gets a nuclear weapon. And we're at that. They've agreed to that. They've totally agreed to that. They've agreed to almost everything. So maybe if they can get to the table, there's a difference. They agree. They're going to get to the table with a pen. We'll have that over with. And then we can focus on our great economy. And also, you know, I inherited the highest prices in the history of our country, the worst inflation in the history of our country. I'll get it down to a very low number. We had it to a very low number, and it's still low. But the most important thing right now is to make sure Iran can never have a nuclear weapon.
Would you ever go to Pakistan to seal the deal yourself?
I would go to Pakistan, yeah. Pakistan has been great. They've been so good. Islamabad, I'll be I might go. Yeah. If the deal is signed in Islamabad, I might go. The field marshal has been great. The prime minister has been really great in Pakistan. So I might go. They want me.
The First Lady last week called on Congress to further look into and uncover the truth on the Epstein files, the Epstein saga. Do you believe that there should be a public hearing for more of these Epstein survivors?
Well, I'm okay with it. I think we've had a lot of public hearings. I'm okay with it, but I understand that the women didn't want to go under oath. That's what I heard. That the women, the victims or whatever, they refused to go under oath, which was a little surprising. So Melania felt strongly about it because she was accused of that I met her through Epstein, but it turned out to be totally false. It was a false story.
Mr. President,
does these fires also include Iraq and region?
Are we talking about the one with Lebanon?
Lebanon, Iraq, and
the whole thing. So we just made a deal with Lebanon. As of 2 hours from now, we have a ceasefire with Israel and Lebanon, and that'll be great. And they'll be meeting, probably coming to the White House over the next 4 or 5 days. And that'll be the first time they've met in 44 years, which is pretty unneighborly.
This is amazing.
But there's a really good chance that that'll work out with Lebanon and Israel. I met with through the telephone with the president of Lebanon, who's a really good guy, highly respected, and with Bibi. And I think there's a chance we'll be meeting right here in the not too distant future.
Whoa!
Israel and Lebanon have tried to make peace before. What's going to be the difference this time?
Me. I'm the big difference. Me.
About taxes. States like Virginia, North Carolina, and New York, Democratic states are looking at raising taxes. Is that going to take away from the tax cuts that
What's happened? No, because, no tax on tips. I'm going over no tax on tips today. That's why I'm going to Nevada. I'm going to Arizona. But this is sort of a no tax on tips. What's happening is people are finding out that in their tax return, they're getting a big refund, much bigger than they thought. So it's no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. I think it's, wait. I think it's going to be amazing. But if you look at what they're doing in New York, in California, they're raising taxes, and they're driving people out.
Australia has just announced that it's increasing its defence spending to 3%. You've been asking for 3.5%. Are you satisfied?
Well, we're going to see what happens, but on defense spending, look, we built the greatest military anywhere in the world. There's nobody even close. All you have to do is take a look at the blockade. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. That blockade is the best thing. And I'll tell you something. I think the blockade has been more powerful than the bombs. The bombs were powerful, and it weakened them. They have no Navy. They have no Air Force. They have no anything. They have no leaders. But their new leaders, the ones that have replaced them, it's a regime change. They are much more, I think, frankly, more intelligent and more moderate. But we have a real chance to make a deal very soon with Iran.
On Australia, Mr. President, you asked for 3.5% increase, like 5% you did with NATO. Australia has only gone to 3%. Are you satisfied with that decision? Would you?
Well, I'm not happy with Australia because they were not there when we asked them to be there. So Australia,
what did you ask for?
Australia was another one. They were not there, having to do with Hormuz. The Hormuz.
What do you mean by that?
I'm not happy. I'm not happy.
But why specifically? Do you still have a good relationship with the Australian Prime Minister?
What message do you think the ceasefire in Lebanon sent to the UK and other European allies who chose not to get involved in the war?
Well, we spend trillions and trillions of dollars on NATO. And when I asked them to get involved on a much smaller situation, which is Hormuz and Iran, they weren't there for us. Remember what I said. They weren't there. None of them. They weren't there. So we were there on Ukraine. I mean, we shouldn't have been. It would have never happened if I were president. But nevertheless, when they've had problems over the years, we were there. When we asked them to get involved on a very minor skirmish by comparison to what it could be, they weren't there. So I don't think they'd be there for a large skirmish. and therefore I think they've got themselves a problem.
Do your policies like no tax on tips, no tax on overtime show that the Democrat Party is no longer the party of the working class and the Republican Party under your leadership actually?
I love this question. This is the greatest guy. Look how handsome he is. What a great guy he is. Yes, the Democrats don't know what they're doing. They want to tax everybody out of business. They want men playing in women's sports. They don't want voter ID. They don't know what they're doing. We've had an unbelievable run, and the people getting their tax returns, and they're coming back, and they're ending up getting $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 more than they thought possible.
Do you think the Pope was being disrespectful? Back on the stage. The who? The Pope. Do you think he was being disrespectful to you?
I don't think about it that way. The Pope has to understand that Iran could not have a nuclear weapon. And the Pope has to understand that you can't let a country kill 42,000 protesters, totally unarmed protesters. You can't do that. So the Pope, you know, I know his brother. His brother's MAGA all the way. You know that. Louis is a great guy. But the Pope has to understand you're not allowed to kill 42,000 protesters who are totally unarmed. And you cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon, or the entire world could be gone. And, you know, when the Pope realizes that, I think we'll have a different understanding.
Does energy provenance mean that Europeans should be buying more gas and oil from the United States?
Well, they should be buying more from us, and what they should be doing is using the North Sea. I can tell you, UK, I've been telling that to your Prime Minister, UK should open up the North Sea. It's one of the greatest in the world, and they should use it instead of buying oil from Norway and other places that use the same source. They should use it, and they're not doing it. They're doing windmills, and windmills do one thing. You know what they do? Put you out of business.
And he's leaving. And they killed the birds. Don't forget the birds. Amazing. A lot of stuff there. But we went a little bit late. We shall be right back. 800-848-9222. Be right back.
Greg Kelly on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, so what were the headlines out of that thing? President Trump very confident in the blockade, says the blockade more effective than the bombing campaign that we waged. Let's see, what else? Talks are going well, or about to resume, actually, and he didn't rule out going to Pakistan to finalize or help those talks along. I thought that was interesting. Doesn't feel the need to, have a meeting with the Pope. Your calls when I return.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
A couple of quick things. We may have a little bit of the Artemis press conference. We may go to that from time to time, see what they're saying, see if they've gotten their stories straight. No, I'm not one of those skeptics, but there are a lot of skeptics out there. Also, President Trump is contemplating going to Pakistan if this deal comes together, or maybe to help it along. That's terrific. And also, Africa Kambata has died. Funeral services to be announced shortly. All right, Africa Kambata. Now, who in the hell is that? Well, I took one look at the guy and one look at the name, and I said, whoever that guy is, that's not his name. I used to work at this place called New York One, and I enjoyed my time there, and they're good people there, but they always doing some weird stuff on the news. They talk about Africa Kambata. His funeral will be, he was such a great guy. They don't say what the hell he was. It turns out Africa Kambata was a disc jockey and rapper. And a pedophile. Not a pedophile, a pedophile. What the hell is a pedophile? Are you kidding me? Why do you call him that? P-A-E-D-O-P-H-I-L-E. What the hell is that? Is a psychiatric disorder in which an adult or older adolescent experiences a primary or exclusive sexual attraction to... Well, I guess it is exactly what the hell we were thinking about. Goodness gracious, why are they all working about a funeral for this guy? Let's go to his arrest record. Yep, child sexual abuse allegations. Sure enough, Damn, I didn't want to go down this rabbit hole. The only thing I was going to do is make fun of the guy's name, Africa Kambata, because I took one look at him and one look at the guy, and I'm like, that guy is not Africa Kambata. What's his real name? Well, it turns out his real name is Lance. Lance Taylor. Africa Kambata. In April 2016, Bronx political activist Ronald Savage accused Bambata of sexually molesting him in 1980 when Savage was 15. Following the allegations, 3 more men accused Bambata of sexual abuse. Bambata issued a statement to Rolling Stone denying the allegations. Let's see if anything happened here. More articles. Civil trial. Bambata lost a civil trial on the sex abuse claims in 2025. But he never entered a legal response to accuser and failed to appear when the course was heard. He died of prostate cancer. All right. Enough said about Lance Taylor, Africa Kambata. Yes, hello. John is on the phone.
Is that me, Brother John?
Hi.
Hey, how are you, Greg? I'm responding to a question you put out. Kind of joking, but I know you meant it when you said, can Trump be on a mission from God? Well, he certainly is, and I do have confirmation, and I have given the mission to call you to be a world changer and to be in the mission of healing the rift between Donald Trump, the Pope, and the Catholic Church.
Well, what do you want me to do about it?
Well, I'm going to share with you. There is a prophecy, and people can find it on YouTube. You look up.
Wait a second. Is this about that brick?
Yes.
Is it about the brick?
Not really. Yes, it's about the brick.
I heard this story. It doesn't move me.
The 1980s that he prophesied that Donald Trump would lead America back to God. That's the important part, not the brick, and whether it was in the Vatican or not.
All right, do me a favor, because you've told me this story before. I get confused by it. What would help me right now? Can I put you on hold and talk to my producer, and you can send him this YouTube clip? Would you mind doing that for me?
No problem.
All right, thank you very much. You got that, Carlos? Let's go ahead and get this guy's information. Hey, there was somebody else we put on hold to get information from yesterday. Remember that? You got that one too? All right. You got to follow up with me on these things, okay? All right. Fred, hello. What? Yeah, I'll do it in a second. Fred, yes. Is he there?
Great to talk to you again.
Hi.
Hello. The far biggest war that Trump is fighting right now on behalf of America is the president that was elected twice and he stole his third term. It's the Obama cartel. They financed Iran's explosives. They had their jackboots on all the compromised politicians' necks, and the press, and the leaders of these countries that wouldn't let us use their areas to land our planes. It's clearly obvious that there is a worldwide Obama mafia. I mean, they've spent all that time, and one of these mafia members tried to kill President Trump, whether it be Iran or trans people.
Well, wait a second. All right. Look, I'm not dismissing what you're saying. No, I mean, there's a bit of a cartel going on, but you're shifting wildly. Whether it was Iran, whether it was trans, whether it was Obama, I need you to narrow this down. When you say, look, I think Obama's up to no good. I do. But you're laying out some things. I want do me a favor. Give me some hardcore smoking gun proof since he left the presidency of this stuff that I'm not saying you're wrong. I mean, I'm looking for evidence because there's some things you need evidence for before you go around making the claims. But give me some hardcore evidence on anything you're just talking about there.
Well, I mean, you don't think he knew Swalwell was compromised?
No, I just asked you for evidence, and you just say, well, you don't think Obama knew? Come on, man. That's not evidence. That's not evidence. And you know what? I don't think Obama was particularly concerned about what Eric Swalwell was doing. And what was Eric Swalwell doing? Let's not make him into something he wasn't, all right? He wasn't this serial killer, for crying out loud. Everybody is acting all of a sudden like this is Jeffrey Dahmer. It's just dopey Kevin Swalwell. I can't even remember his first name, and it was ancient history. So Fred, I sympathize, and I'm open-minded, and I think there's a lot of stuff going on, but right now I'm looking for proof. I'm looking for evidence, not more questions. Fair enough, Fred?
I understand.
All right, I appreciate it, buddy. I thank you. I want to go to the press conference real quick in Houston, all right? This is that astronaut speaking. Ooh, with the Kristen Fisher in her beautiful hair. Go ahead.
On the fact that we did it. In the beginning, 3 years ago, we were being celebrated for something that we hadn't done. And having put in the work and having seen our team's successes, I think we're ready to share in that inspiration and to celebrate it.
Okay, we'll take two more here in the room and then head to our phone bridge. Kristen, go ahead.
Hi, Kristen Fisher with The Endless Void, and welcome home. It's been such a joy watching how much this mission has gotten people so excited about space. My question's a little bit deep, so bear with me. When Apollo 14 astronaut Edgar Mitchell was returning from the moon, he had an experience so profound that when he returned to Earth, he devoted the rest of his life to studying the nature of human consciousness. And it's a theme that all four of you touched on to varying degrees at some point during the mission. And so my question is, now that you've been back on Earth for just a few days and had a little bit of time to sit with it, do any of you feel as though you had an experience similar to what Mitchell described, this sense of universal connectedness? And did you experience somehow a shift in consciousness somehow? Thanks.
Yes. Chris, it's a great question. The only thing I can do is just share one quick story. When I got back on the ship, I'm not really a religious person, but there was just no other avenue for me to explain anything or to experience anything. So I asked for the chaplain on the Navy ship to just come visit us for a minute. And when that man walked in, I'd never met him before in my life, but I saw the cross on his collar, and I broke down in tears. It's very hard to fully grasp what we just went through. And in these short, you just said it's been a week since we've been back, but it's been a week of medical testing, physical testing, doctors, science objectives. We have not had that decompression. We have not had that reflection time. So I'm basing this on what we saw. And when the sun eclipsed behind the moon, I think all four of us, I turned to Victor and I said, I don't think humanity has evolved to the point of being able to comprehend what we are looking at right now, because it was otherworldly and it was amazing.
The only thing I would add is that beautiful thing. First of all, thank you for sharing that. That was a really special moment. I was in the bed right across when the chaplain came in, and the only thing I would add is I am a religious person, but everything else is the same. There is something in there, and as we start to process, I'll have to tell you next week, but haven't had a chance to really unpack it all yet.
All right, we'll take one more here in the room and then head over to our phone bridge.
Yeah, maybe not as deep, but connected. Keith Garvin with KPRC2 here in Houston. Thank you so much for taking us on your journey, and so glad that you're home. With the technology that we have today and what we can do with videos and pictures and social media, it can still be very hard for one to convey exactly what they're seeing to everyone else. What is the most remarkable, or one of the most remarkable experiences that you all had that just couldn't be fully properly conveyed through pictures and video? And that's for any of you.
I can start. I was going to answer Kristen's question a little bit too, and I think these tie together. I've been trying to find words for it, and I don't really have it yet, but we just saw so many amazing things. And people ask what's the most amazing one, and you can't pick one. There are just so many amazing experiences we had. But overall, where I keep coming back to is what kept grabbing my attention when the lighting was right and we were looking out the window is that I kept seeing this depth to I guess, the galaxy, for what we were visually observing out there, this depth to the galaxy that I just had never experienced before. And it's not that I could tell which stars were really closer and further, because it has to do with how bright they are, but because of how bright they are and their differences, they look like you can tell where they are in 3D. That was mind-blowing for me. And then you see the same thing with the moon and the earth. You're viewing them from this new perspective, but this perspective with like three-dimensional depth. And I mean, I've heard Christina talk about this a lot. We're all kind of struck by these things that make us feel small. And that the sense I had was this sense of fragility and feeling small, infinitesimally small. But yet, this very powerful feeling as a human being, like as a group. And that is what, to me, is what I would try to share. I saw it in all these sites over and over again. I kept seeing that same thing and that same feeling. Small and powerless, but yet powerful together.
That's interesting. Very interesting. But don't feel too small, pal. Because I did the math. And if we spread humans evenly throughout the universe, every human being would have like 1.5 trillion galaxies to themselves. And that's every human being who ever lived. Don't feel small. We are giants. We are giants. But we're nothing without God at the same time. Brian in Staten Island, hello.
Yes, hello. So I have a beef with you on the Pete Hegseth versus the Attorney General. What's his name that you said that you liked?
Gates.
No, Gates, Matt Gaetz. So how is it that you can condone Matt Gaetz, but yet you give Pete Hegseth so much problems about his personal life, but you're willing to overlook the other one's problems in his personal life, and they outnumber Pete Hegseth.
No, actually, that's not true. Number one, Matt Gaetz never paid a woman who accused him of sexual assault to keep silent. All right? By the way, I'm not harping on this thing right now. I brought it up when it happened, when we found the email. All right. If you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. You're the one bringing it up. And in fact, I praised Hegseth today. The analogy actually worked, but, I'll do it briefly, regarding Hegseth, national security policy. There's actually a regulation about this. You can't have blackmailable people in positions of national security sensitivity. It's essentially against the law. And he was blackmailed once. I was accused of sexual violence, sexual assault, falsely. I never in a million years would have paid that woman money to keep silent. Blab your mouth off. I don't care. You're lying. You're lying. I quite frankly should have sued. So, Matt Gaetz never did that. You don't know a damn thing about the case, actually, Brian. You don't. You couldn't even think of the guy's name, and here you are calling him some sort of sexual deviant. The Attorney General guy, yeah, him. He's a lot worse than Pete Hegseth. You don't know a damn thing about either issue, do you? Do you, Brian? No, you don't. You don't. But that's okay. That's all right. You want to apologize?
No, why should I apologize? You're the one that puts me on mute and don't let me reply to your accusation.
I don't put you on mute. I'm speaking.
Yes,
I got the microphone.
I couldn't get.
Well, no kidding, because it's my turn to speak. Now, nobody mute this guy. I'm not pressing the mute button. Go ahead, Brian. Let's enlighten us.
So first of all, Matt Gaetz was accused of paying a woman for sex. So you say he didn't spend any money? Yeah, he did. He spent money.
He did. He did. You can't even figure out the guy's name. You don't even know the guy's name. He was nominated by President Trump to be Attorney General, and he would have been 1,000 times better than Pam Bondi. And people would be in jail right now. All right? You got that?
No.
You don't get that. Well, you know what? Go and hang around the internet. Try to figure out the names first before you call the radio, okay? And when you're president of the United States, you can appoint somebody who pays money to keep them silent when they're accused. You can pay people. You can make people the Secretary of Defense who are blackmailable. You can do that, Brian. All right, knock yourself out. Max, hello. Speak. Line 3. Damn it. 1 second. All right, Glenn, hello.
Greg, how are you, sir? I've been wrestling with a question now for the past 2 or 3 weeks, and I think you're the only one that might give it some clarity. It really has to do with after the pilot, the ordnance officer crashed in that desert after ejecting. What is the training? Are they supposed to separate the way they did? Can they communicate with each other? Should the pilot have gone to the ordnance officer's rescue, stopped his bleeding, and protected him from bad guys? I'm just not quite sure what the training is and what the protocol is, but it's always been amazing to me that they ended up separating.
Well, no,
they shed some light on that.
Yeah, sure thing. Number one, they didn't separate. They were separated the moment they ejected from that plane. So they eject not exactly at the same time. There's like a 0.3 second difference. The pilot, I think, comes out first, and then the Wizzo, or the Wizzo comes out first, and then the pilot. One comes out before the other, like a microsecond. They don't come out at exactly the same time. And they come out at slightly different trajectories, and then the wind opens up their parachute at different ways. So it's very customary for them to be separated by the time they land, and because they're in 2 parachutes. And, you know what I mean? Wind's blowing like crazy. And it's actually, you know, sometimes they find each other, sometimes they don't. My sense is, and my understanding is, it's better when they find each other. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
All right, good. Glenn, because I got to go. I spent too much time berating Brian from Staten Island, but he deserved it. We'll be right back.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I don't know. I listened to these astronauts talk about how much fun it was to look out the window. I'm kind of over it. They don't have, I don't know. Something's lacking. We have to go, but I'm going to do this very, very quick. Pardon me. Barbara, hello.
Hi, Greg. Hello. I'm looking at and reading about all of the Pope's comments about President Trump and Iran, and I can't believe what I'm hearing when we have the estimate of 42,000 Iranian citizens murdered. We know that, by the way, in Nigeria, 71,000 Christians have been murdered, but we're not focused on that. But yet the Pope received and gave an audience to Axelrod, who supports an administration and a political party steeped in the sin of abortion. And yet the Pope declined the invitation to return here to his homeland to encourage and celebrate the 250th anniversary of our Declaration of Independence, which protects God's gift to man, the very conditions for the flourishing of mankind that the Pope is concerned about.
Well, Barbara, you're spot on. Wow, I forgot about that Axelrod angle, and you are a Major League Catholic and a Major League believer in the Constitution. Very important. I'll be addressing some of that tonight. All the best, everybody. To be continued.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?